We are going to talk about your portfolio, how it can be refined and well balanced to be $1 million portfolio. Why? Because this market cycle is about to get really interesting, where you touch the bottom first, then you go up, retest the all-time high, come back down to the bottom, retest that zone and bounce. And that bounce is the biggest one. So you don't want to miss out on that one. You really want to attract money into your portfolio. How? Being in this market, and not just being in this market, because this market has a ton of assets. There are fundamental assets, risky assets. You look at the volume, you look at the project, you look at the liquidity, and you're like, what should be there? Right? How can I balance my portfolio? So here we are going to discuss through this. $1 million crypto portfolio, how can it look like? It should have fundamental assets, because if you are putting a good amount of money, you want to make sure your money goes in through this cycle of parabolic move. Great, but you also want to make sure that you are putting your money into assets with liquidity. Otherwise, you'll see growth, but you won't be able to take that out. Then you can go through all different stuffs. You can see some new projects. You feel like, wow, that's great new project. I think the vision is going to survive. It's going to hit all those milestones. Great. But you also need some risky assets, maybe 1%, maybe 10%. It depends upon your risk tolerance level. But having that gives you an edge. Say you put 1% into a risky asset and it just bombards. And what happens? That 1% does 1,000x. Now it's 10 times your portfolio, right? Or while you're waiting, you really want to get that liquidity in. So in order to get that one, what I suggest is you can look at staking if you are, not that risky guy. If you have a little bit of risk tolerance, you can look at passive income sources like running a master node or others. So we are getting into this. Why? Because again, reaching here, the crypto millionaire kind of stuff, you need the right balance here in your portfolio. It should be a well mix of all these type of assets in your crypto portfolio. So now, if you talk about the fundamental assets, you have a ton of these, right? You need to look at this, and we mostly know, we regularly talk about XRP. Then others are similar, right? Just Cardano is like the smart contract one. Others are payment tokens. So we are going to discuss through this to understand what the fundamental assets looks like, what new great projects are out there in the market. Now, there are a ton of that. I'm going to go through them, picky ones, which I feel is going to survive for long run, and it's undervalued right now. So guys, let's dig in through this. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. We've been talking about this in the market, right? The market broke higher, it came back, it retested that low of 41,500, it bounced. So right now when you go into the market, you're watching the market moving slowly higher, it's grinding higher. Now we can go on to a shorter time frame chart to actually get that picture, because you are watching a rounded bottom there, which is great. You're observing the same stuff here in the RSI. You're looking that on a 4-hour chart and you're like, okay, fine, I'm getting that bullish narrative there in the 4-hour chart. So you go on to a daily and you're looking like, okay, this is the previous top, and I've created another new higher high here in this rally mode, and right now I'm slowly moving to the upside. So you are waiting for this level to break, and that is going to push the price higher. Right now, for XRP, you are looking at XRP in different time frames, and you are like, okay, say this shows you we are slowly making higher lows here. Yes, it's also getting higher high. That means you're in a symmetrical triangle where you're going to break to the upside because the trend is to the upside. Usually symmetrical triangle, you say we don't know, we'll wait for a break, but here the impulse is to the upside, so the chances are say 51% to the upside. Now the entire market, altcoins are going to run, and when they run, you zoom in, you see, okay, we are breaking through this. That was a support resistance zone. We have to break this and then the trend line. Now, when we do this breakout, as you see here on a weekly in the alt RSI, you need to be in the right mix of coins. That's why today we are going to discuss through this stuff. Now, it's not that confusing. It's not that, I'm not going to give you that stuff like do this. I'm going to give you the actual idea how you should do this, because it's your portfolio, it's your perspective. Because the new great projects, you're going to look at these and you may say, okay, this is not that new. It's been here for a year. But not everyone consider that as a long-term survival, right? Look at XRP, it's been there for a long time. Look at Ether, look at Cardano. You'll say, okay, those are fundamental assets which stayed there through the test of time and proved that they have value. They are still in the top 50. XRP, Cardano, they are still in the top 10. So when you are looking at that, you will understand this. Say XRP, XLM, HBAR, Quant, they are payment tokens. Whatever type of business you are doing, it ends up in exchange of value, a payment. Now that's one of the reasons why I'm so heavy on these, especially on the XRP. Now others are also doing fine, great. They are also on the same side. Cardano is there because Ether has a ton of scalability issues with the gas fees, and you know how the network gets congested. So moving on, you look at the great new projects. Now, in my opinion, I think Vax is a great project. Harmony is a fantastic project because you look at how the price is moving, you look at how the adoption, the network, the leaders moving in. Those look great. Now, yes, when you look at, say, Matic and others, you are like, okay, that's great new project with a great vision. And the only stuff there, negative, it's not that negative, but a little bit negative, is the price already went 1000x to the upside. So is it still undervalued? You can look at BNB, you can look at like Engine and other coins where, they are fundamental assets in one way or the other. Say Engine is precisely on that back, but, it's making that technical viewpoint where it's going to break to the upside. Now, others are Dent. Dent is actually a great project here. For me, I look like, okay, the practical development happening for that project is great. You look at Europe, they are rolling out the eSIM, where people are using it and saying, okay, this is great. It's running on a blockchain, it's decentralized, you have that level of scalability, and the TA is showing you enormous upside. Similarly, you look at Veracity. VRA is now showing you that it can actually do wonders in TA. Great. And at the same time, you look at how the project is moving with the adoption with EA Games and how they're actually, clearly doing their marketing stuff, because marketing is important. We can't say that, marketing is not that important, because that's one of the main area where we get that. Now, Avalanche or Avax, you see a ton of projects being developed on them. Say even Tor protocol, which we will be talking on about the passive income sides, but you get to see a lot of different stuff being built on it. People are using it. So as a base protocol, it is getting adoption. The vision is, way better Ether, I would say. It actually gives that level of base foundation for other projects to come and build on it. Now, I'm not going to elongate this too much. We're jumping onto the risky ones. Now, understand this. You have a ton of meme coins in the market. But with that comes a ton of risk too. Just you can look at Dogecoin and say, okay, it has stayed there and, the test of time proves it like, okay, it's not going to zero. Fine. But it can still go 99.9% down. We have seen many coins do that with wave 1 correction, right? So if wave 2 correction is going to be even massive, with time, duration and the fluctuation, you may get wiped out. So make sure, even if you are doing these risky assets, you are there 1% or less than that. Don't get into these as your fundamental assets, because I've seen rare people who have like 50% of these kind of tokens. Now, okay, he has a ton of risk tolerance. Now, it's individual choice, but for me, that's like super risky. How can a family guy put that amount of his portfolio? Now, say crypto, if it's just 10% of your actual portfolio, say gold, silver, real estate and everything, that's okay. You're not actually taking too much risk on your actual total net worth. But if you are, say, 70-80% in crypto, say like me, then you don't want to take 100% of that and put 40 in meme coins. I don't do that. Personally, for me, in my mix, I would say I'm like 70% in fundamental assets. So the rest, I'm looking for like just 5% risky assets. At first, Dent Veracity, when we entered a year back, it was kind of risky. It was really new project. We don't know how it's going to do. It was really risky, and we did well on those. It was risky, and it delivered those upside. But right now, they moved into new great projects because they're surviving and they're doing cool stuff, right? Similarly, you need to understand that can be like 20% of your portfolio. That's great. Now, the mix you have to select yourself, but understand, while you choose this, you also have option to stake or run nodes. Now, staking is most common. People usually do that. So I'm not pushing that here. What I'm trying to give you highlight is, a lot of people are like, I don't get new money in. I'm stuck in a lot of assets. Think you can take 2% or 5% in an asset which you believe you're stuck there. Take that and move into, say, Strong or Tor when it's such a drop. Say at the highest Tor was like $400. Right now it's around 80. It went to 58, 60, that range. So even the highest node, say Odin, was really cheap. Even say the Tor node itself on the Tor Financial, it's really cheap. Now if you want to look at Strong block at the highs of $1,200 for Strong, 10 Strong, you need 10 Strong to run that. So, it was like $13,000 at that point, considering the ether, gas fees and other stuff. But right now, the price is somewhere close to 380, and it may even drop a little bit. So when the price is dropping, it's a huge opportunity for anyone who is still considering, okay, I'm going to put, say, $5,000 here or $4,000 or whatever for a node. If it's Strong, you need 10 Strong, and you need to pay that price. Otherwise, you need to wait and see if the price drops and you get in. If not, you're looking at other protocols. You can look at Polar Nodes, Polar DAO, or you can look at Tor Financial. And when you get into that, you have different options. You can start with $200. You can go up to, right now, I think if it's $80, you need 78 Tor for the Odin. So that puts you somewhere around, say, $4,000, $5,000. Oh, $6,000. Now, I don't think my math is correct. You can look at that one. But around that $6,000 range to get one Tor a day. So that's 30 Tor a month. And if Tor goes to $100, that's $3,000. It's fine. You're putting $6,000 and you're getting $3,000 back a month. Now, all of this also comes with a little bit of risk. But that's why it's in red, right? So in the passive source and the risky coins, you can manage in a way it's just 5% of your portfolio. And it still gives you returns on a regular basis, so you can move into great new projects or the fundamental assets. This is really important. Now we are jumping on to this market where we know how things are moving. There are people who are saying we are going to go down. It's a bear market. There are others who are saying we are going to go to the moon. So what is it going to be? Let's look at the charts. So in general, as we've been talking, market is moving like what we expected, right? We've gone through this, from a long time, and people were, going bearish. I remember people going bearish on XRP when we had this crash. We were working through this. You go to that and you look at your favorite YouTuber, big guy, small guy, whatever, and look at that time frame. You'll understand what I'm saying. Now, the market is moving like this. It's sideways. You feel that, fine. But in general, Bitcoin is doing this stuff. You understand all of that. But right now, when people suggest it's going to go to the downside and they don't believe in, different types of technical analysis, it's completely up to them, right? And if you want to make a final decision, I use trend lines because at least for me that works. So, whether it's getting kicked out or not, it gives you an idea of the trend, how the trend is moving. And most of us agree on one point. Trend is your friend. So if trend is your friend, what you're looking at there is you always observe that here in crypto you get a rounded bottom flag. It's not actually the real bull flag, but it looks like a rounded bottom flag. You go through, you get this. You had this impulse, right? You were moving to the upside. Then you got this one and you broke higher. Now, if you go all the way down and you're going to observe that again and again, you had this pattern, in a lot of different crypto assets you're watching this. So right now, the market is pushing through the upside. Now, trend is your friend. Understand this. You put in a higher low here, again a higher low here. You had a higher high, which is great, another one higher high. So if you are going through this and breaking this one, don't listen to others when they say, okay, this is bearish, we are going to go down. Okay, maybe, but make sure you also look at the long-term support resistance range. Say if you are when I actually put in, say, a horizontal line to illustrate what can be possible range, this was a resistance previously, say 52,000. So you're looking for the price to slow down there. If it doesn't, it's gonna break through higher. Now, why do I say that? Now, take this with a grain of salt, but this is a huge possibility, which is kind of, just opposite to what others are saying. Now, if it actually happens, which I think is going to, you are going to see massive price fluctuation in Bitcoin. Say you kind of wait and watch this one. It's going to move, come towards 52,000, and you're going to have a little bit of correction here in this range. You may even come back down to 45, 42 range, even retest this range of 45, and then go back. But right now that's kind of a medium-term structure. Right now, in a shorter-term scenario, you're already having, I know this is confusing, but stay with me. This inverse head and shoulder is already showing you that the price have opportunity, right? If you are in this market, you are looking for, okay, what does that mean? The first stuff here is showing you the price can go 28% to the upside. So you put that number here, you come somewhere around this one. So with that correction, you possibly move down here. So now, if you take this one, if we are doing this, that's a 50% rise from 50,000. So you go to $75,000, $80,000 like that. Now, it's easily said, but once the price does these and you see that happening in the chart, then you will believe. If not, you won't. But that's the hard part, right? You don't know who to believe. Believe yourself. That's why I always suggest take time, read through the charts, try to understand the patterns and learn that. So you don't have to completely believe anyone who says anything. You go through, you look at these, and you look at, okay, everyone is showing something, maybe a pattern, a trend. Try to understand which one has the higher odds, because this is a game of probability and patience. If you see a higher probability, you're jumping in. But if you don't have patience, before that plays out, you move out of the market. You don't make money. So when your coin is going to perform well in this market cycle, you should make sure you are there. Because XRP for me is a great coin right now who's also doing something similar. If you look at this, you can observe, okay, we are going to make our inverse head and shoulder almost completed here. And that gives you an ability to move higher. So if you put that into numbers, you have around 50% move to the upside. So, you put that into perspective, you're moving through a lot of different resistance and coming above a $1.2 range. That shows the market is going back into the bullish territory. So guys, if you received value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button. That supports the channel a lot. And if you want these kind of updates, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below, where we do one-on-one sessions. We try to rebalance your portfolio if required, or kind of refine it in a way that you still have a huge possibility to make a ton of money when the market is moving to the upside. You don't want to really miss wave 2, because wave 2 is this structure here. Even if you miss the first one and the last one, it's fine. But if you can get on to this one, that's the biggest stuff you're going to make money on in this cycle. Understand this. This cycle is not over. And before it's over, you want to make sure you are inside that range.